When Apple announced the MacBook Neo, I got excited for one very simple reason. It was a full Mac laptop for $600. I've been using the Neo for about 3 months, and after traveling with it, working from hotels, using it on planes, connecting to an external monitor, editing on it, and comparing it to basically every current Apple laptop I own, I think I finally understand what this computer is. And I'm not reviewing it as a cut-rate MacBook Pro, because that's not what the MacBook Neo is. I'm reviewing it as a tiny Mac that I pushed harder than most people will, and that's what I think makes it very interesting. I started using the Neo for the very simple things that it was designed for: email, web browsing, watching videos, streaming, traveling, and then I kept pushing it further. External monitor setup, light editing, creator workflow, travel production. Basically, I wanted to see how far I could push a $600 MacBook before it started falling apart. And the surprising part is, for the way I travel and work, it went way further than I expected. Now, this is not a pure spec sheet review, and this is not a can this replace your main computer review. This is from the perspective of somebody who already has a powerful MacBook Pro, travels with camera gear, edits video, creates content, and I wanted to know if this tiny, cheaper Mac could actually handle enough of my real-world travel workflow to actually be useful for me. Because I think the most interesting question is not, how does this compare to a MacBook Pro? That's obvious. The better question is, can a much smaller, cheaper Mac handle enough of my real work that it becomes worth owning alongside more powerful Macs? And after 3 months, my answer is yes, but with some very real limitations. So to understand why the Neo clicked for me, you have to understand what I was originally trying to solve. When I bought the M4 MacBook Air, I bought it because I wanted something smaller and cheaper than my MacBook Pro. I love the 14-inch MacBook Pro, and that's still the machine I trust for serious editing, heavier projects, client work, color, multitasking, but I don't always want to carry it with me, especially while traveling. Sometimes I'm already carrying cameras, lenses, batteries, chargers, audio gear, maybe even a drone, portable monitor, and once you add the MacBook Pro into the bag, it starts to feel like a lot of expensive gear to be walking around with. And honestly, there's something psychologically nice about traveling around with a cheaper computer. That was the idea behind the MacBook Air for me. But the Air still didn't feel different enough from my MacBook Pro. Yes, it was thinner. Yes, it was lighter. But in real-world use, especially on a plane or in a cramped space, the 13-inch MacBook Air and the 14-inch MacBook Pro still feel like real laptops that do require some compromises. And in my M4 MacBook Air review, I said the perfect travel Mac would be something slightly smaller than the M4 MacBook Air. After 3 months with the MacBook Neo, that's exactly what this is. Not because it's more powerful, not because it's more premium, but because it's meaningfully different. And I think something people are really underestimating about the Neo is its size. People see the price first, then they see the specs, they see limitations. But the form factor is really the story for me. This thing is smaller than the MacBook Air in a way that actually matters to my workflow, and is considerably smaller than the smallest MacBook Pro. That matters when you're on a plane, when you're in a hotel, when you're sitting at a coffee shop table, and it matters when it's not the only thing in your bag. On a flight, the difference is huge. Even with the seat back in front of me, putting the Neo on my tray table, it fits perfectly. I can put it at any angle I need it to. I could do all of my work like writing emails, watching movies, doing whatever, right from the tray table in front of me, which was a lot harder, especially on my MacBook Pro. Now, before we get into performance, I want to talk about the specific types of work I'm actually doing on the MacBook Neo. Most of the time when I travel, I'm not doing the kind of work that requires my MacBook Pro. I like having the power of the Pro available, but the reality is that most of the travel work I do is pretty basic. I'm answering emails, writing scripts, managing files, checking thumbnails, light edits, and working remotely. And none of that requires the most powerful computer that Apple makes. Most people are probably going to use the Neo for everyday work: email, browsing, writing, school, travel, streaming. And for that, it makes a lot of sense. I wanted to know whether this could handle the edge cases of my travel workflow. Not my full studio workflow, not my heaviest MacBook Pro work, but the things I actually do when I'm away from home. And that's where the Neo surprised me, because for normal Mac work, it feels way more capable than most people may expect. It has the A18 Pro chip, which is important because it isn't an M series MacBook. This is not an M4 MacBook Air. It's built around a mobile class Apple chip with 8 gigabytes of RAM. But in normal use, it still feels like a Mac, and that's probably the biggest compliment I can give it. The moment really clicked for me when I took it to NAB in Las Vegas. I brought the MacBook Neo as my only computer on the trip, And that was a little scary because normally I would bring my MacBook Pro, especially for how long I was gone. But I wanted to see if this thing could actually handle a week away. And in the hotel room, I connected it to an external monitor, used it as a desktop style setup. It became a surprisingly capable little workstation. Officially, the MacBook Neo supports one external display of 4K at 60 Hz. So this is not a multi-monitor workstation out of the box. But for a hotel room setup, one external monitor was more than enough. And that's when the whole machine clicked for me. For a week of travel, I didn't need my whole studio setup. I needed something small, light, cheap, and capable enough to become a workstation when I connected it to a monitor. And the Neo did that. Now let's talk about performance, because this is where I think people either overestimate or underestimate this machine. For the kind of work this laptop is designed for, performance really isn't an issue. Email, web browsing, writing, streaming, document work, and general Mac tasks are all fine. Where it starts to get interesting is creator work. The Neo has hardware acceleration for modern codecs like H.264, H.265, ProRes RAW, and an AV1 decode. Now, this doesn't automatically turn this into a full-on creator workstation, but what it does mean is certain creator workflows, if you use any one of those codecs, will work way better than anyone would expect on the MacBook Neo. If you're working with optimized media, proxies, ProRes, lighter timelines, or simple edits, this thing will absolutely surprise you. It's not about brute forcing everything, but it is about working intelligently with the machine's strengths. So after using it for 3 months, here's what's actually worked for me. First, the price changes how I use it. At around $600, the MacBook Neo exists in a totally different emotional category than the MacBook Air or the MacBook Pro. And that matters because when I'm traveling, I don't just think about performance. I think about risk. I think about how much gear is in my bag. I think about whether I really want to pull out a $2,000 or $3,000 laptop in every airport, hotel lobby, airplane seat, or coffee shop. With the Neo, I'm just more comfortable using it, and that's what makes it so useful. Second is the size is a killer feature. The MacBook Neo is small enough that it feels like a true travel Mac, not just slightly lighter than the MacBook Pro, not just a thinner laptop, but something that feels meaningfully easier to bring with you. So for students, travelers, writers, business users, even pros who already have a main machine, the size does make a real difference. Third is that the trackpad surprised me. When I heard Apple was going back to a mechanical trackpad on the Neo, I expected it to feel like a downgrade. But honestly, I kind of like it. It has a different feel than the current MacBook Air and MacBook Pro trackpads, but it's not a bad feeling. And in some ways, I actually do prefer the physical click. Fourth is repairability might be the long-term story here. This is one of the biggest things that I think people are overlooking, and it's that the MacBook Neo is not just Apple's cheapest MacBook, but it also may be a glimpse into a different future for Apple laptops. It's one of the first MacBooks in a long time where the components feel more accessible and serviceable. Now, it's still Apple, so you're not able to upgrade the RAM or storage later, but parts that tend to fail, like the battery, ports, the display, appear to be more approachable than they've been on past MacBooks in a very long time. And to me, that does matter. Because at this price, with the kind of repairability direction, the Neo starts to feel less like a disposable cheap laptop and more like Apple's testing a new category. But here's where you start to feel the limitations. The Neo's impressive when you respect what it is, but I did run into limitations, especially when pushing it beyond its basic use. First, the ports are its biggest limitation. The biggest limitation for me is not just that it doesn't have Thunderbolt, it's the entire port situation. The Neo has 2 USB-C ports, but only one of them is really useful for fast data. One is USB 3 up to 10 gigabits per second, and the other is USB 2. So in practical terms, only one of the USB-C ports is really useful for fast storage, external display, or a dock. And for me, that matters because I have tons of Thunderbolt SSDs that I use in my professional workflow, and the Neo doesn't just run slower, some of them don't even work at all. And that limits what drives I can bring with me. So if you're a creator with a bunch of Thunderbolt storage, this is something you need to know before you buy. Second is one external display only. The Neo officially supports only one external display at 4K up to 60 Hz. But if your workflow depends on multiple external displays, this is not really that machine out of the box. That doesn't make it bad, but it does define the role a bit more. Third is 8 gigabytes of RAM is fine until it isn't. The MacBook Neo has 8 gigabytes of unified memory. For everyday work, in that kind of travel work I'm talking about, totally fine. But I wouldn't pretend that this is a computer for heavy fusion work, intense noise reduction, giant timelines, massive multitasking, or serious professional editing without workflow compromises. So if you're buying this as your only machine and you know that you push your computers hard, you should think carefully. Fourth is the screen is really good, but it's not creator grade. The display is sharp enough for normal use, and indoors, I think it looks great. But outside in bright sunlight, you're gonna struggle. And for creators, the color point does matter. This is an sRGB display, not Apple's wider P3 display. So while I'm totally fine using this for general work, writing, browsing, reviewing footage, or rough edits, I would not use the built-in display as my final critical color grading monitor. Fifth is that the small compromises do add up. There are a few other things where you do feel the price point. I wish the keyboard was backlit. There's no MagSafe. The speakers are fine, but they're not MacBook Pro level. Now, none of these are deal breakers for me, but it is worth mentioning them, especially if you're used to Apple's higher end laptops. And this is where the MacBook Air comparison gets interesting, because the MacBook Air is still the safer all around recommendation for most people who want one main Mac. It's got more performance headroom, better ports, a better display, and fewer compromises. But for me, the Neo is a better travel computer because it is more differentiated. The Air always felt close enough to my MacBook Pro that I would always ask, why am I not just bringing the MacBook Pro? The Neo answers a different question. What is the smallest and cheapest Mac I can bring with me that still handles enough of my real work? That's why the Neo makes sense in my setup. It's much cheaper, smaller, and easy to travel with. And because it has a clear role, it actually justifies itself better. For my personal work, the MacBook Pro and the MacBook Neo made a lot more sense than the MacBook Pro and the MacBook Air for my workflow. Now, this is probably my most used accessory with the MacBook Neo. It's a 2TB SSD that was originally meant for the iPhone, and I've covered it in some other videos, but essentially, you get the full read and write speeds specifically out of the MacBook Neo on this, and it does have a USB-C port here on the back. And this USB-C port, it is pass-through for data and power. And as you can imagine, when you plug this into the MacBook Neo, unless you have some kind of USB-C extender, it is going to block the second USB 2 port, but this port on the back here, it's still USB 3. So if you need to plug in more storage or you need to plug in a card reader to this, it'll all work in the pass-through through here. And if you buy an extender, you will be able to access the USB 2 port as well. Now I'll leave a link to this in the description below, but by far, it's been my most used accessory just because it expands the memory so easy and so flawlessly on the MacBook Neo. It feels a lot different compared to other SSDs like the Samsung T7 because it just plugs right into the device and it's there like it's almost built in. So in super compact situations like being on an airplane or in a coffee shop, I don't have to have something like a T7 just sitting dangling with its cord plugged into the Neo somewhere on the table. This doesn't need to go anywhere. It can even dangle over the edge of a table because it's strong enough to just sit into the port of the Neo, work. Comes in a few different configurations, but for me, the 2TB made the most sense because I'm typically editing directly off of this SSD. So I'll leave it in the description below if you're interested. In the end, who is the MacBook Neo actually for? I think the MacBook Neo makes sense for two very different kinds of people. First is going to be the biggest group, which is everyday users that don't need pro performance at all. If this is most of what you do, email, web browsing, documents, streaming, schoolwork, Zoom, basic apps, this is going to be a great computer for you. Then second is people like me. Pros who already have a powerful main computer but want a small, inexpensive Mac that they can push surprisingly far when traveling. These are very different buyers. But the MacBook Neo can make sense for both. For an everyday user, this may simply be enough computer. But for a pro user, it can absolutely become a secondary tool. And then just as important, who shouldn't buy the MacBook Neo? If this is going to be your only computer and you know you need heavy creative power, get the Air or the Pro. If you need Thunderbolt storage, get the Air or the Pro. You should think carefully. If you need multiple monitors as part of your workflow, this is probably not going to be the right MacBook for you. If you need color critical display work, don't rely on the built-in screen. Definitely get an external monitor. If you need lots of RAM, this is not that machine. And if you want the least compromised Mac, this isn't going to be it. This is still a really great Mac, but it is not a magic MacBook Pro for $600. One other thing worth talking about is battery life. The battery life has been good for how I use it at least. And in real world use, What matters the most to me is that I don't feel like I have to baby it. On a plane, in a hotel, walking around during travel days, it feels like this is the kind of computer I can use normally without consistently thinking about the charger. And because it charges over USB-C with a small power adapter, it fits the travel idea really well. So after 3 months, here's where I've landed. What surprised me the most about the MacBook Neo is not necessarily that it's secretly a pro-level laptop. It's not. What surprised me is how much of my real travel workflow it can handle when I'm willing to work intelligently around its limitations. This is not the machine I would choose for my heaviest editing days, color critical work, or massive multitasking, or serious studio projects. But when I'm traveling, I don't always need that. I need something small, inexpensive, easy to carry, easy to use on a plane, less stressful to throw in a bag, and capable enough I could still get real work done when I need to. And that's what makes the MacBook Neo interesting for me. Not that it beats the MacBook Pro, not that it beats the MacBook Air on specs, but that it creates a different role for itself. And for me, this is what I wanted the MacBook Air to be. Smaller, cheaper, more distinct from my MacBook Pro, and surprisingly capable when I push it within reason. So if you're looking for your main professional machine, the Neo probably isn't it. But if you already have a powerful enough setup and you want the smallest, cheapest, most practical Mac to bring on the road, the MacBook Neo makes way more sense than I ever expected. And after almost 3 months, I am honestly happier with the MacBook Pro and MacBook Neo setup than I was with my MacBook Pro and MacBook Air setup, and that was the real surprise. So that's my 3-month review of the MacBook Neo. Now this isn't going to be my last MacBook Neo video. I have some more videos coming out soon, especially when it comes to doing the workaround to be able to do 2 external monitors. So if you want to see more content like this, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell to keep up to date with the latest videos on the channel. I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, my name's Jeff Fagien. I will catch you in the next video.